Your dog trusts you with their entire life. But what if the things you do every single day, the habits that feel completely normal, even loving, are slowly destroying that trust from the inside? Not in an obvious way, not in a way you'd ever notice, but in a quiet, invisible way that's already happening right now in your home today. Most dog owners never find out until the damage is done. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never look at your dog the same way again. Welcome to the Canine Code. If you're new here, subscribe right now. This channel exists to give your dog the life they actually deserve, not just the one we assume is good enough. Here are 6 everyday things that hurt your dog way more than you think. 1. Punishing them after the fact. Picture this. You walk through the front door. Your favorite pair of shoes is destroyed. Your dog looks up at you with those wide, guilty eyes, tail tucked, body low to the ground, and you immediately raise your voice. Maybe you point at the mess. Maybe you grab them by the collar and drag them over to it. It feels like the right thing to do. It feels like teaching. But here's the truth that most dog owners never hear. Your dog has absolutely no idea why you're angry. Dogs live almost entirely in the present moment. Their ability to connect a past action to a current consequence is extremely limited, especially when more than a few seconds have passed. What your dog is actually reacting to in that moment, the guilty look, the cowering, is not guilt, it's fear. They're reading your body language, your tone, your energy, and they're shutting down to try to make the threat go away. A study published in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science found that dogs displayed submissive behaviors, what we commonly read as guilt, regardless of whether they had actually done anything wrong. It was triggered entirely by the owner's tone and posture, not by any memory of the act itself. So, what does repeated after-the-fact punishment actually do? It doesn't teach your dog to stop chewing shoes. It teaches them that your arrival home is unpredictable and terrifying. Over time, dogs who are regularly punished this way develop chronic anxiety, hypervigilance, and in some cases, defensive aggression. You're not correcting behavior. You're poisoning the greeting. Think about what it means for a dog when the person they love most walks through the door in that moment, which should be the highlight of their day, becomes a source of fear instead. That's the damage we're talking about. And if you think that's hard to hear, keep watching, because the last one on this list is the one that hits hardest, and it's the thing almost every owner does thinking it's an act of love. 2. Never letting them use their nose. When was the last time you took your dog on a walk where they were actually allowed to stop and sniff? Not a brisk walk where you keep tugging the leash every time they slow down. A real slow-noseled exploration. If you're like most owners, the honest answer is probably not recently. We think of exercise as the point of a walk. Distance covered, steps taken, calories burned. But for your dog, the walk isn't about their legs. It's about their nose. And when we deny them that, we're cutting off the single most important sensory experience in their entire world. A dog's sense of smell is estimated to be between 10,000 and 100,000 times more powerful than ours. Their brain dedicates a proportionally enormous amount of processing power to scent. Sniffing isn't just pleasant for a dog. It's cognitively essential. It's how they read their environment, gather information, and make sense of the world around them. Research published in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science found that dogs who were allowed to spend more time sniffing on walks showed lower cortisol levels, the primary stress hormone, and demonstrated greater optimism in cognitive bias tests afterward. In plain terms, a sniff-heavy walk is more mentally exhausting and more fulfilling than a fast-paced walk twice the distance. So that dog who comes back from a long run still bouncing off the walls, give them 20 minutes of pure sniffing on a loose leash, and they'll come home and sleep for hours. The body gets tired from movement. The mind gets tired from engagement, and your dog needs both. Denying your dog the chance to sniff is like taking a person to an art museum and making them stare at the floor the entire time. You're there. You're physically present, but you're missing everything. Keep watching, because what comes next is one of the most overlooked health mistakes dog owners make, and it's happening in virtually every home right now. 3. Skipping mental stimulation entirely. You walk them, you feed them, you give them affection. You think you're doing everything right, but there's one thing missing from most dogs' daily lives that is quietly driving them to the edge, and it has nothing to do with physical exercise. Mental stimulation. Dogs were not bred to lie on a couch all day. Every single breed, from the Border Collie to the Beagle to the Labrador, was developed with a job in mind: hurrying, tracking, retrieving, guarding, hunting. Their brains were engineered through hundreds of years of selective breeding to solve problems, make decisions, and work toward a goal. When that never happens, something starts to break down. A study from the University of Agricultural Sciences in Sweden found that dogs who lacked adequate mental stimulation showed significantly higher levels of frustration, stress-related behaviors, and what researchers described as pessimistic cognitive patterns, essentially a dog equivalent of depression. That dog tearing up furniture, probably not a bad dog, probably a brilliant dog losing their mind from boredom. That dog barking at nothing for hours. Their brain is running on empty and desperately searching for something to process. The fix doesn't require expensive equipment or hours of your time. 10 minutes of a puzzle feeder instead of a bowl at mealtime. A training session where you teach one new trick. A sniff game where you hide their kibble around the house. These aren't luxuries. They're necessities. Because a mentally fulfilled dog is a calm dog. A calm dog is a happy dog. And a happy dog is one who trusts their life with you, which is exactly what they're trying to do. Stay with me because we're not even halfway through. And the next one is something almost every owner does without realizing the damage it's causing. 4. Misreading their stress signals. Has your dog ever yawned at a weird moment, not because they were tired, but right in the middle of something tense? Have they ever licked their lips repeatedly when no food was around? Looked away when you were trying to make eye contact? Shaken off like they just got out of water, but they were completely dry? These aren't random. These are your dog desperately trying to communicate with you. Dogs have an incredibly rich language of subtle body signals, what animal behaviorists call calming signals and stress signals that they use to express discomfort, anxiety, and the need for space. The problem is that most owners have never been taught to read them. And when those signals are repeatedly missed or ignored, dogs learn that communication is pointless. Eventually, they stop trying to warn you when they go straight to the growl, the snap, or the bite. A landmark study by Norwegian animal behaviorist Tutter Rugos documented dozens of these signals across thousands of dogs and found consistent patterns in how dogs attempt to de-escalate tension and communicate emotional states. The study highlighted that owners who could not recognize these signals were far more likely to report behavioral problems, not because their dogs were more reactive, but because they had missed every earlier warning. That dog who bit with no warning, they warned you dozens of times. You just didn't speak their language. This is one of the most important things you can learn as a dog owner. A yawn during a hug means they're uncomfortable. A lip lick when a stranger approaches means they're anxious. A whale eye, where you can see the white of the eye, means they're on the edge. These are gifts of communication. Learn them because the moment you start seeing your dog as a creature who is always talking to you, everything changes. And the next point on this list will make even more sense once you do. 5. Using the wrong kind of touch. You love your dog. Of course you do. So, you hug them. You lean over them. You ruffle the top of their head aggressively with both hands. You wrap your arms around their neck. It feels warm. It feels like love. But here's what your dog is often experiencing in those moments: restraint, pressure, and threat. Humans are one of the very few animals on Earth who express affection through sustained physical contact and close face-to-face proximity. Most other animals, including dogs, do not. A hug, in human terms, is a loving embrace. In dog terms, it often reads as being physically trapped by a larger creature pressing down on them. Research published in the journal Behavioral Processes analyzed photographs of people hugging dogs and found that in the vast majority of images, dogs displayed at least one clear stress signal: ears pinned back, head turned away, lips licked, whale eye. Most owners in the photos appeared completely unaware. This doesn't mean your dog doesn't love you. It means they love you so much that they tolerate something deeply uncomfortable because you seem to want it. The types of touch that dogs actually enjoy are different. Calm, steady pressure along the side of the body. Gentle scratching at the base of the neck or behind the ears. Slow strokes moving in the direction of the fur rather than against it. And critically, touch that follows their lead rather than overriding it. Let your dog come to you. Let them lean in. And when they move away, let them go. That's not rejection. That's communication. And honoring it builds more trust than any hug ever could. We're almost at the last one. And I promised you earlier it would hit the hardest. I meant it. But first, one more that's been damaging your dog's daily experience in a way you probably haven't considered. 6. Inconsistent rules and unclear expectations. Monday, you let the dog on the sofa. Tuesday, you're in a bad mood and you yell at them for jumping up. Wednesday, your partner lets them back on. Thursday, a guest arrives and suddenly everyone's enforcing a no sofa rule the dog has never actually been trained on. Your dog has no idea what world they're living in. Dogs are not stubborn. They are not dominant. They are not testing you. They are simply trying to figure out the rules of their environment so they can relax and feel safe. And when those rules change unpredictably, when the expectations shift based on your mood or who's in the room, they can't build the mental model they need to feel secure. A study from the University of Bristol's Anthropology unit found that dogs in households with inconsistent rules and mixed training approaches showed significantly higher baseline anxiety levels than dogs in households with clear, consistent expectations, regardless of how much love and affection they received overall. Love is not enough on its own. Dogs need structure the way they need food and water. Not harsh structure, not rigid, joyless obedience. Warm, consistent, predictable structure. Rules that are the same on a Tuesday as they are on a Saturday. Expectations that every person in the house applies the same way. Because a dog who knows what to expect is a dog who can finally exhale. And a dog who can exhale is a dog who is genuinely deeply happy. And now the last one, the one I told you about at the very beginning. 7. Treating alone time like it doesn't matter. There is a story we tell ourselves about dogs. That they're resilient, that they bounce back, that as long as they're fed and walked and given the occasional belly rub, they're fine. That they don't really feel our absence. That when we leave for work in the morning, they just wait quietly and move on. That story is a lie, and it is costing millions of dogs their emotional well-being every single day. A landmark study published in the journal PLOS ONE examined cortisol levels in dogs across different durations of owner absence and found that stress hormones increased significantly, even after just 30 minutes alone, and continued rising with each additional hour. The research also found that dogs showed measurable positive physiological changes during reunion with their owners, confirming what anyone who has ever been greeted by their dog already knew in their gut. This animal loves you in a profound, biochemically real way. But here's the part that doesn't make the greeting videos. The dog who destroyed the couch while you were gone was not being vindictive. They were panicking. The dog who stopped eating while you were away was not being picky. They were grieving. And the dog who seems perfectly fine after 10 hours alone, day after day, they may not be fine at all. They may have simply learned that distress gets them nowhere, so they've shut down. That's not resilience. That's a dog who has given up trying to express what they feel. You don't need to never leave. That's not realistic, and it's not the point. The point is to take their emotional experience seriously. Before you leave, give them something meaningful. A frozen stuffed toy, a sniff puzzle, a long walk that fills their tank before you go. Rotate what you leave out so their environment doesn't become stale. Create a window perch so the outside world gives them something to engage with. Leave a worn piece of your clothing nearby. Research has shown that your scent alone significantly reduces their stress during separation. And when you come home, and this is the part most people get wrong, don't make the reunion small. I know you're tired. I know you have things to do, but your dog has been waiting for you with every single hour of their day. Give them 2 minutes of real, grounded, present connection. Get on their level. Let them climb on you. Be there. Because here's the thing that gets lost in all the behavioral science and the studies and the expert recommendations. Your dog chose you. Not in the way you chose them from a shelter website or a breeder's page, but in every real sense of the word. They chose to orient their entire emotional world around you. Their safety, their joy, their sense of belonging. It all runs through you. And all they are asking every single day is that you see them back. You don't have to be a perfect dog owner. Nobody is. But now you know. You know what they need. You know what's been missing, and that changes everything. If this video made you think differently about your dog, share it with someone who loves theirs. Hit subscribe if you want to keep going deeper, because at the Canine Code this is just the